Hi. Hi, Amberty123. How are you doing today? Do a little bit of a sound check. Can you guys hear me and probably the baby? She's quiet right now, but as soon as I go live, she wants to chime in. I'll just wait for chat to let me know that they can hear me before we begin. Hi, Scott and Carolina. Thank you for being here. Hi, Shannon. Okay, Shannon says she can hear me. Amberty said sound is good. Okay, hi, Mel Mac. Hopefully, today I will have a little guest on. Kelly, CDT. Hi, Nikki Rex. I think she might come on. I talked to her yesterday and said, I wish you would come on with me in the morning. But I know she's busy with the kids, like bringing them to school. But she actually said that she's home around like 8:20. So I sent her the link. She might hop on later. I hope she does. Hi, Katie. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Original Elements. Cody. Georgie. If I missed anyone, hello. So, hi, Jonesy and Jet. So, over the weekend, we didn't really get very much groundbreaking news. Obviously, he's still on the run. Brian Laundrie, we are still looking for him. 5'8", around 160 pounds. I'm sure he's lost some weight since then. And we're just going to talk about the highlights. The hiker that claims he saw him at the Appalachian Trail. We're going to talk about Gabby's family on Twitter now. We'll just go through, the weekend highlights. I'm sure you guys have heard the stuff and have seen the stuff already. Like I said, I woke up this morning, nothing really groundbreaking happened overnight. So you're pretty much just going to get like my opinion on things that have happened in the last few days, as well as hopefully CDT's. Kelly from CDT, she is part of my sister channel over at CDT. We've worked numerous true crime cases together. So, she's always a good source for information. I think I have her channel linked. If not, I will link it. Or if a mod could link it. Either way. The Pink Dahlia, hello. Hi, Scout. Bobby Pin. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I know it's early. It's 8:05 Eastern time. So I guess we'll get into it. I don't want to go too deep into certain things in case Kelly does come on. I'm just waiting for a confirmation. She's driving the kids to school and all that. So I know she's not like driving and texting. And I know everyone in chat knows that there's a baby here. So if anyone's new to this chat, I do have a little almost 9-month-old. Hi, Janessa. She's part of the channel. So in case you hear something. All right. One of the news articles that I'm going to bring up is the Daily Mail. And I know that people have their own opinions about the Daily Mail. And they're kind of known for like the UK gossip media, but at the same time, to be honest, I've never stumbled on a Daily Mail article referring to a case that I'm covering where there's been misinformation. So when I share that, honestly, I'm going to let you guys know, like, it was reliable. The article's reliable. Everything on there is what we've heard. Yes, Malmek, she's pretty much ready to start walking. She hasn't even really mastered crawling, but she wants to jump to walking. But so, yeah, it's actually, I think that they do a detailed job. So we'll get to that. Has anyone ever seen this picture, the comparison, like the, let me just read it. Interesting picture here on the Gabbypetito subreddit. Notice that there's likely 1 or 2 people in the back of the van as the suspension is lower when the GoPro guys passed. So this is from that footage that everyone knows about from that YouTube channel. And this comment is suggesting that the suspension of the truck, hi Callie, and insanely confused, hello. So yeah, this is suggesting when they drove by, because people say, oh, I see the door close, oh, I see somebody in the field, I see flip-flops, I see all those things. The field thing is still something I'm looking at, but like, look, let me just zoom in. Oh, I can't zoom in on this format, but can you guys see it? Obviously the arrows do help, but look at the gap, like the tire rim, the tire is right here, not the rim, I'm sorry. And then like, see this gap? This is them posing for that picture outside of the van. This is the tire. This is when they're driving by, and look at the gap. Obviously this picture is closer, but still, I mean, look at the suspension. I'm curious what chat is saying and thinking. Let me see. Yeah, I never noticed that either, Courtney. Yeah, I agree, Bobby Pin. The thing somebody said, just to kind of play devil's advocate, somebody said, well, we don't know the location of the gas tank on this van. We don't know if it was full or empty, but honestly, I just don't know if, right, Sword of Spirit said, does the terrain it's sitting on or tire pressure matter? I would think that as long as it's on a flat surface, the suspension wouldn't really be dictated by what the tires are resting on. I mean, if it's on a hill, yeah, you know what? Maybe that would make a difference. You know what I mean? If it's like angled and things are kind of put on the weight. But I just don't know, guys. I thought this was interesting. I know it does look lower for sure. 773 Raven said. Yeah, someone did have a good eye to notice that. And that's the thing. It's just a lot of people obviously over scrutinize things, but I don't think that that's a problem. I think that everything that we've been looking at, I think it's good to kind of over scrutinize because it's better than letting something kind of pass by us and being like, oh, wow, how did nobody notice that? So, I give it a lot of credit to everyone who's pointing things out, and even the Brian Laundrie sightings, the ones that aren't valid, if people are calling them into the FBI, then good. You know what I mean? Like, there's just like a group of people who think, oh, these armchair detectives, or, you guys need to don't quit your day job and let the FBI take care of it. And that's fine to think that. And I'm sure a lot of law enforcement is like, oh, come on, guys, like us online sleuths, just let us do it. But I'm still in the belief that if that YouTuber didn't drive by with their dash cam and see this van, I'm still kind of feeling like how much longer would it have taken for them to find poor Gabby? And just things really do matter, like as far as quickness and getting her to the autopsy table, as soon as possible, which I did read a kind of discouraging article about her autopsy. Obviously, they haven't given us the cause of death. Well, they've said it was homicide, but we don't know the manner as far as like, gunshot, strangulation, etc. But the article I was reading it was like titled something along the lines of why it might be hard for Gabbypetito during trial. And basically talking about if there was a potential trial, why would this case kind of be difficult once it gets there, which I hope it does. Like, I do not want him to take a plea deal, catch him and let's bring this to trial and let's get true, complete justice, because like we saw with the Chris Watts case, a plea deal does not bring justice or closure, you know? So anyways, it was pretty much saying, it's going to be hard because even if they find Brian's DNA on the body, they took a trip together. They lived together. They're very close quarters, like I'm sure just from sleeping on my fiance's side of the bed, there's probably DNA or something on me, it's just they rub shoulders and who knows, So I just thought that was a little bit discouraging to read, but it does make sense. We're going to need a lot from that autopsy, and DNA will link him and possibly get a charge for this crime, because right now we're still just at him using the fraudulent card use. But yeah, it's just we need him to be tied to this case and him to be the suspect in this case, because obviously we all know that that's probably where it's leading. But it was an interesting article pretty much saying like, yeah, if they do find DNA, his defense is obviously going to be like, okay, like, yeah, they live together in a small van. What do you think? So just be prepared, because as soon as we catch him, I know everyone's going to be like, yes, let's hang him, so to speak. And I feel that way too. But then I'm like, oh, this is just going to be like, his defense team, we've already seen the way that his lawyer is, and they're dirty. They are dirty, in my opinion. Just a mom asked, dumb question, and don't worry about your questions in my chat. I don't judge or think things are stupid. But she wanted to know, was Gabby pregnant? Well, we don't have a way of knowing that at the moment. As far as everything out there is concerned, no, nobody has said like she missed her period or whatever. Like her friend hasn't come out saying anything like that. So as of right now, no, like she was not pregnant. Obviously the autopsy will indicate that in a more clear, direct way, yes or no. Yeah, I agree. Nikki said it is a little discouraging, Amber, but hopefully there will be something else. I hope so too. I mean, I almost feel like that's why they were looking in the swamp. Like, was there a weapon they're looking for? We don't know the exact details. I'm just reading comments. If the parents put him in a mental facility by law, would that be private to the law? Sorry, I'm just rereading that. If the parents put him in a mental facility by law, would that be private to the law? I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know, because he's an adult, so I don't know if the parents can put him in a mental facility themselves. He's 23. Yeah, Amberty said this case is historical. It is. It's literally, it feels like another Scott Peterson, Casey Anthony, just something that we're just always going to remember, like watching. I really want us to be able to watch this trial, like we just need everything just laid out there. We need real, true justice, and we need to see the workings of justice take place. Because I think everyone is so attached to this family, the Petito family, and to Gabby, and we don't even know them. It's like the Watts case, like and for those who have followed the Watts case, we fell in love with, the videos of the children, and that case has no closure, in my opinion. Like, yes, he is in prison for the rest of his life, which is great, but like, we don't know the details, so this case right now, as it stands, is pretty much what happened in the Watts case, like, but it went right to a plea deal. So everyone was just kind of hanging on a limb, like, okay, what's going to happen? Let's see, how did this happen? Why did this happen? And then Chris signed a plea deal, and we never got any of those answers. So then there's thousands of people, and you can see it right on my channel with the videos. They cling to everything that's out there about the case, and they want to know, like, wait, I don't understand. Like, why didn't we get answers? So, I really hope that the Laundrie's lawyer and everything that takes place goes right to trial, and I feel like he will put up a fight based on everything so far. It already seems like he's putting up a fight. So, give me 1 second, guys. And then Scout, let me just respond. She said that the HIPAA laws protect Brian if he was to be in a facility. Is that what you were saying, Scout? I'm sorry. And that's true. I mean, if he was caught and they put him in a mental facility, yeah, we wouldn't get to see what he has, why this happened. You know what I mean? Like we'll see. We're gonna see exactly what happens. Hi, Mike dropping mom. Oh, hi, Sky. Sky said they can 5150 him though. What's that? Bobby Pin said the Chris Watts case was also very short between the death of his family and the plea deal. Yeah, it was literally arrested in mid-August, plea deal by beginning first week of November. So we do not want that to happen here. We can't let that happen. I mean, not that we have much say, but I'm sure the family wants answers and justice, and just let the workings of the justice system take place. Yes, I understand the plea deal is a part of that in America, but I think they'll fight, honestly. Yeah, Diane, he needs to be given a mental evaluation, clearly. Let me check, see if Kelly just messaged me just now, and she said she's turning on her computer. So she's got the link. She'll pop on in just a moment, and we will wait for that. And I'll just read through chat right now. Oh, Mary wants to know, wonder why auto theft wasn't added. It was Gabby's van. I think that right now that they just feel like they want something more substantial, like for a charge, like they don't want to waste their time, not waste their time, because obviously, just get them in. But, let's go for the big bite, pretty much. Let's get him for something where he can't bail out of jail from. You know what I mean? I don't know what type of money this family has. I know that they own multiple properties and they had a business. Good morning, Marshall Dove. Thanks for being here. I like the morning crew. I mean, I always like my subs, but I'm starting to see like regulars in the morning with me. So yeah. What was I saying? I'm sorry. Oh, the Laundries. Sword of the Spirit said, have they protected him for similar before this? I don't know. I don't know much about him. There's not much about him out there. The family has scrubbed information off the internet as this is kind of proceeding. They had bad reviews for their business on Yelp and stuff like that, and we were looking through it, and then the next day it was gone. So, things are quickly becoming out of our reach, and we can't inquire about it. I like your name, Unicorn Poop. Good morning to all, she said. Yeah, I hope so too, Melmac. If they find, but that's the thing is, say they find his DNA under her nails. It's just hard because they can argue, well, that's because they were together and blah, blah. There's always going to be something that the defense team will try to pull. 1 second. Okay, Bobby Pin, thank you for being here, and good luck at your dental appointment. So I'm just waiting for Kelly to hop on. She'll be here any minute. Hi, Amelia. She said, I know most people would want to defend their child, but this is next level and also fueled by a large amount of money behind them. So it is like common knowledge that they have a ton of money or what? Sorry, I don't know the exact stuff. Everything we kind of pulled up, my team and I, it was just showed their properties that they own, their birthdays. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if they're from Long Island, not to just kind of lump people together, but people who live it. I live in upstate New York, and it's common knowledge if you live in Long Island, you have a little bit of a cushion of money, I'm sure. Hi from China. Hello. Yeah, Kelly Jacob is from CDT, which is Crime Discussion Today. It's another channel. It's actually my sister channel. So if you go and sub over there, she's very like-minded with my views, and we've worked together on multiple cases, just research, etc. And Nikki Rex, thanks for linking her channel. Well, it's not, I said, Maria, not to lump them all together, but there is a lot of people in Long Island that have cushioned money. Oh, thank you for watching me, Jules 81. Thank you so much. And I'm glad that everyone likes the channel and the baby's noises because, she's just part of my life over here. So somebody asked, do you believe he saw something? He was running COP. Where did the cop left her? And she did not go to jail. Sorry, I can't understand this comment. No, them damn cop. Why don't tell us about autopsy? Oh, they can't release the information about the autopsy because the investigation is still going on. So, oh, hi, RJ from Syracuse. Hello. Yeah, they just can't release that type of information yet. They want to bring Brian in and they want to be able to question him and kind of, those types of details are important during, an interrogation or interview. So they're not going to release it to the media because then, it gives them an upper hand in a way to know those details. One second. I just got a message from Kelly. She said, it's taking forever, almost there. I'm like, what is she like powering up? Windows 95? She'll be here any minute, guys. It's just, I want to just wait to go through like these pictures with her because, it's better to have a little co-host. Good morning, Jamie. KF said, any news on Mohab murders and any linkage? Woody's Tavern has a long Facebook post about it and police errors from the start. Yeah, I seen that post. Actually, I think I have it saved in some of my screenshots. As far as I know, there's nothing new that has come out. They're denying a linkage, but that to me doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, Jacob, she has dial up apparently. The reason why I said it doesn't matter to me that they've denied there being a link, because they came out and said that they didn't think that they were connected, and that was before they even found Gabby's body. So how can they determine that one thing isn't connected to the other when they didn't even know how or where Gabby was at that point? So I don't know if they're just kind of playing down what they know or what. But hi, Kelly.
Hello. Hello, chat. Good morning. And thanks for having me.
No problem. How come your picture is the CDT2 picture?
Yeah, I don't know what it's doing. I had deleted all my history, so I think it screwed up my auto stuff. So it's a picture for the second YouTube that we made a while ago.
No problem.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
How's your morning going so far?
Good. Just got the kids to school, so that's about it. Yeah.
Now you can really start the fun.
Right. See what's going to happen today in the crime world.
Ugh. Walmart trips or whatever.
Yeah, my favorite.
So Rhonda, and I'll explain it to you. Rhonda wants me to explain this picture. So again, we don't know if the van on the right image is on a hill or whatnot, but somebody pointed this out on Twitter or Reddit. It was just in my screenshots, and it was talking about the suspension.
Mm-hmm.
And the one on the right is from the footage. The one on the right is from the footage from that YouTube channel that found the van. And then obviously the one on the left is just their staged picture. So they were just pointing out the suspension looks different, but we don't know like the terrain, like what that angle is and all that. But I was just wondering what you thought of it.
Right. I mean, yeah, I do see it. I would have never noticed it, but yeah, it could just be the way it was parked, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely more space in the picture on the left than the one that they caught. That is interesting. I don't know why that would be or what that would mean if there is something heavy. I don't know.
And that's why we need almost a window of the time of death, because then we'll know, was somebody in the back of this van at that moment? Could it have been Gabby, you know?
Right. Or yeah, were they both still alive in the back of the van together?
Right. All right. So
yeah, I'm anxious obviously to know more.
Me too. And we were just talking about how they're I mean, they've come out and said, yeah, don't expect these autopsy details anytime soon. You know, like they have, not that he's even labeled as the main suspect right now, but they have the main suspect like on the run. So, you know, they're not going to just release every single detail that they know before they get this guy in for questioning, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think people are kind of not understanding, like, well, why? And it's like, hold on.
Oh, no, you're fine. Yeah, I think they're going to want, they want Brian before they just release every single detail to the public. And
because if they came out and said, oh, it was strangulation, well, then his defense team has time to be like, okay, how can we make it so that we can argue that, you know, she did it to herself? You know what I mean? And obviously that's just me making something up, but that's what a defense team would do.
Right.
You know, they'll have the advantage and the upper hand by knowing the stuff. So it's like, we just can't. They have to keep that stuff close to their chest, as they like to say.
Yes.
They've been saying that a lot. But it makes sense. I mean, hello, nobody even knows where he is.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, RJ, he will be spotted, and we're going to go through an alleged spotting that happened this weekend at the Appalachian Trail. So, you know, not in Florida. All right, let me just go through this, and the pictures will kind of they're like my notes. So once a new picture pops up, I'll know like what we're going to be discussing. The day before they left on their trip, and they stayed in contact with her as they traveled. This is talking about Cassie Laundrie, and this, like it says, the clip is from September. So this is from before they even found her body So that's why this is labeled as September 2021.
Traveled, sending postcards and FaceTiming. And she does.
And so it just said that they've sent Cassie postcards during their trip. And then I think it was you or Amanda Vita pointed out some of the postcards don't even have postage on them.
Huh, that's interesting.
So it's like, it almost makes you feel like it was part of the staging.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, yeah, throw this in there and tell them that they sent us postcards. And like, they may have, but like, it's just an observation that was pointed out. Some of them didn't have postage. So I don't know if they were taken and then given to Cassie, like for this dialogue of like, yeah, here's some postcards. Tell them that we sent you some. Again, this is just me speculating, but I'm just trying to figure out why some of the postcards didn't have postage.
Interesting. Yeah.
Let's hope Gabby is found safe.
Obviously, me and my family want Gabby.
So I put this picture side by side because, in my opinion, I feel like, and again, this is just my opinion and the baby's opinion, but we feel that they both kind of have like dead eyes. And I know people say that, oh, he has shark eyes. But like, to me, I don't know. Like when I first seen this sister's interview, I was like, she looks exhausted. I remember saying that. And, you know, so what is the reasoning for her being exhausted? You know, now we can speculate like, well, is it because she's hiding something? You know, because things were just not adding up over the weekend talking about the sister and her contradicting statements. So I kind of put these side by side so you can kind of see like Brian, you know, there's just something wrong with him. So to me, he looks off. And her, if you just watch this, once I press play, in my opinion, she just seems sort of off too, like dead behind the eyes, lying basically. And I think that this type of behavior and manipulation is conditioned and taught. And, you know, they're siblings. So where would they have learned it from? I'll leave that open-ended.
Be found safe. She's like a sister, and my children love her. And all I want is for her to come home safe and sound, and this to be just a big misunderstanding.
So what did you think of that?
I agree about, I mean, her eyes, she looks tired. I just think in that whole interview, she just seemed off. And like you said, I mean, she lied in this interview by saying she wishes she could talk to him, and we found out she was at the campsite. I guess you could argue she didn't see Brian there, or they didn't speak, or they didn't talk about Gabby, whatever. But either way, I think she knows more. And didn't it come out that he visited her home also?
Today, do you still think Brian Laundrie's alive?
Yes, I
And
still
why?
think he is alive. I think he's alive because I don't.
Amber, are you talking? You're muted if you're talking.
My bad.
You're fine. I was just making sure.
I was just agreeing. I think it's true. He did stop at her place before he even went home with the van, from what I'm hearing. And I know Sky and Kelly Brown probably have confirmation on that. But yeah, as far as I know, she was the first place that he went to when he came back to Florida.
Wow.
KF said they all have a dark cloud over them.
Yeah.
I agree. It's just something. So at the bottom of the screen here, it says that her interview was the 19th. But then I started realizing that like later that day, the family reported him missing on the 17th. My bad.
Yeah.
17th.
17th.
So when you think about like the timeline, as far as like the family behind the scenes, you know, it's like she went on Good Morning America. And I mean, what's that? Like 7 a.m? Who knows when this interview was? And it's just interesting to think, like, did she know that like her parents knew that her brother wasn't around? You know what I mean? It's just weird because here she is on TV given the chance to say like, oh, and by the way, like, we really want Gabby found, you know, she's like a sister. Oh, by the way, my brother, I think, is having a really hard time we can't even find him right now. So please, like, help us find him too. Or, you know what I mean? Like, there was no plea, like, while she's on ABC for Good Morning America, like, did they not tell this sister, like, yeah, we haven't seen your brother for 2 days? You know what I mean? It's just like, what is going on?
Yeah, it makes you wonder what exactly like was talked about before this interview happened, or I don't know. I agree. I think that family dynamics are super interesting in this case, and
Mm-hmm.
you think there's, again, I've seen it in chat, there's a reason they both are this way. And go back to the parents, look how they're acting. It's just really sad.
Yeah, and it's like the parents knew that they weren't going to do a TV interview. So
Mhm.
clearly they had a conversation with their daughter, like, yeah, you know, we'd really love it. And like the lawyer, I'm sure, helped. We'd really love it if you just go on there on the 17th for the Good Morning America and, you know, let them know, like, we want Gabby found, etc. So during that little conversation, they didn't say, like, your brother's missing. And you know what I mean?
Right.
What is going on?
Yeah.
Here she is given the chance to speak to everybody, to say, like, yeah, we want Gabby found. And by the way, like, I know this is like crazy, but now my brother's missing and things are just hitting the fan. Like, please keep an eye out for both of them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just so weird. Like, you're on TV and they're acting like he could have been suicidal.
Mhm.
So it didn't make sense to me. Like, when I thought about it, like the timeline, like that happened on the same day and he was missing for a few days at that point.
Right. Yeah, in my
And
opinion, they know exactly where he is. And
Mhm.
so that's why they're acting how they are. It is crazy.
Yeah. Hi, Mariah. Thanks for being here.
Hello.
She said, just hopped on to say I love you two so much. My two favorite channels in true crime community. We love you too.
Yes, I hope you have a good day.
So that was just what I had to say about the sister. You know,
Yeah.
it was just like the timeline of the interview and him being missing. It's just like, if he was really suicidal, I'm
Today,
assuming
do you still think Brian Laundrie?
they would have had the letter that he left at that point.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, it just didn't make sense. Like, and I know that news segment was supposed to be about Gabby and what she knew, or, you know, about that. But if he's suicidal and missing and they end up calling the police later that day, then couldn't you have just said something that morning? Like, even if the news station didn't include it, like, maybe they'll come out. And again, I don't know this for sure, but maybe they'll come out and say, like, yeah, you know, she did plead for us to find her brother. But I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so either.
So this little clip, again, this is just weekend things that happen over the weekend, like on Friday, I think this was. But this woman is a former FBI agent, so I just thought this was like a little interesting clip. This was on Twitter. I think it was part of like a TV series that he's doing, Brian. It's like Missing People, perhaps. I'm not 100% sure. But have you seen this, Kelly?
I have not. Mm-mm.
Okay, cool. So he just said to her, last time we spoke, you believed that Brian was still alive. So I'll just play this.
Okay.
He's alive.
Yes, I
And
still
why?
think he is alive. I think he's alive because I don't think someone with his personality and with everything they have done to date that they would do for somebody who is not alive. Let me give you some examples. First of all, as I mentioned, they have retained an attorney to get them through this process. Number two, I don't see the Laundries out frantically looking for their son. Obviously, they know the Bureau is looking. They are doing nothing, and their whole demeanor is not the demeanor of frantic parents concerned that their son is dead somewhere.
Last week when I talked to you, you said you thought Brian Laundrie was alive. Today, do you still think Brian Laundrie's alive?
So yeah, that was just the beginning of his question. But yeah, so I thought she brought up a good point where it's like, why would they retain this lawyer? Why would they be going through these hoops of like these statements with the lawyer, you know, with the text messages and you know, him speaking for them, like in manners of like defending him still, you know, like I don't know when they got their lawyer lined up, and the lawyer refused to answer that question, you know? So it's like this whole rumor that Brian flew back to help his dad pack a storage unit before the trip was over. You know, did something happen and that's when they got the lawyer? I mean, I know that that was before Gabby was like not seen, you know, because the mother spoke with her after that point. But it's like, what is going on? Because the timeline of when the lawyer was even retained to me is almost as important as the timeline of, you know, what's going on with the parents and the family.
Right. Because we know by September 11th, didn't they say they knocked on the door basically and they were handed a statement from the attorney? So
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think it's so important to know when exactly they retained their lawyer. Like, when did they make that first call reaching out for counsel?
Right. And he, of course, the lawyer was asked that and said no comment. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. And everything is the play on words, like in the sister's interview, everything's just, you know, people have said, well, she didn't say that she didn't see him. She just said, I wish I could talk to him. And like you said, like the verbiage obviously was careful.
Yeah.
In my opinion, careful verbiage like that doesn't just mean like, well, technically this or that. It's like, no, they're being careful for a reason, you know?
Agreed. Yeah, and then some people want to defend it, and I just feel like that's not. I don't feel like Cassie's actions right now are defendable. I mean, she went on national TV, and like you said, you can get picky about the verbiage, but ultimately, she misled the public to her, you know, interaction with Brian after he returned home. And that's not that there's no reason to do that when there is, you know, a woman who was killed, murdered. That's just
Right.
there's no room for that.
I know. And honestly, I don't see like, okay, you're right. Like people have argued like, well, this or that, like you need to um like you said, like people are defending the way that she said it. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we understand like the semantics and this and that, but like doesn't it just still come back to being careful? And why are you being careful with how you're answering? You
And
know?
the same thing with the people who say innocent until proven guilty, and I would get a lawyer too. And I said from the beginning, I am all for I would get a lawyer if I was innocent or guilty. But I'm sorry, the actions do not. This is the most one of them. I mean, I don't know, the most bizarre crime case in a long time with how, you know, Brian's acting, his family's acting, the whole thing is just so crazy, and I don't see how anyone can defend Brian anymore.
I don't see it anyway. Yeah. And the family is begging for him to just turn himself in. You know, it's just, and since we're on the subject, I want, and I know you feel the same way. There's just a lot of people covering this case right now, and I feel like a lot more people hopped on this case when it became a manhunt than it was when it was a missing girl. So what I mean is like it started off like everyone or in the true crime community, like, oh, find this girl. How sad, you know, like get her face out there. And then all of a sudden, as soon as she was found, all these other channels and media outlets, TMZ, they're like, oh, there's a manhunt going on. It's like, yeah, there was a missing woman going on too, like a week ago. And nobody was like hopping on it. And then all of a sudden it becomes a manhunt and everyone's like, pull up the air flight and pull up the scanners, you know, let's go live. And this is just my opinion. I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm just saying Gabbypetito is a person and a victim, and people are treating her like she's content and something trendy. And I just want to reiterate to everyone watching, you won't get that vibe from this channel here or CDT Kelly's channel. So, you know, like there is a victim behind all this, and it's not, oh, let's hop on and check the scanners and who saw him on TikTok. You know, it's like this is real, and it's not just something that you can just pop on and be like, oh, let's go live and find this guy. And it's like, please remember, this is because Gabbypetito was murdered. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put that out there. And I know that the viewers know that. And I know that they're here on this channel because they know that we have integrity and we care about victims. But, you know.
Yeah.
Had to get that. I'm off my soapbox now.
No, I see absolutely where you're coming from. And I agree. Like, ultimately, a woman was murdered, and now the person, the number one suspect, is gone. And there's just, it's a real situation. It's tragic.
So yeah, let me just grab the baby real quick and I'll continue. This one on the screen is just a zoomed in picture of the FBI entering the laundry house. And people have speculated, like, are those DNA kits? Is it just gloves? So I was wondering what Chat's opinion was on this picture.
Okay, and then also they've said it was a homicide, which is death by another person. So they did release that it was a homicide.
Yes.
And then the Pink Dahlia, sorry, I'm just going off her. She said they had the lawyer before they knew a crime was committed, allegedly, which is a very good point. He returned home. They didn't know, allegedly, that anything happened. Yeah, I know homicide doesn't mean murder, but, you kind of put two and two together. And I think the autopsy, once it comes back, it will be proven it was murder. That's just my opinion, but we'll have to wait and see. But it says homicide is an act of a human killing another person. So I think the only human suspect right now is Brian Laundrie. But yeah, I guess we are kind of guessing, but that's just my opinion.
Right. But I mean, enough information is almost given to us with it saying that it was homicide, in my opinion.
Yeah. And
It's
then
not
you
like
have...
It's not like they came on and said, like, looks like suicide, or we're not sure.
Right. And they came out pretty quickly with the homicide.
Right. And that's so sad because it's like, is it that obvious? Like, I'm just so
I know.
scared,
Yep.
So what did you think of this? I was like, what does it really matter? They went in the house and I'm assuming they collected DNA, but then people were saying, like, well, were they collecting DNA from the parents because they found him not alive or what? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm sure
Right.
they're just collecting DNA because your DNA is close to your parents, obviously not 100%, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they're trying to weed out whatever DNA they've found. And like, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. And didn't they come back again for more DNA?
I think, yeah, they got it one.
They got him back with the sample and went back into the camper.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know, but either way, it was interesting. I mean, people are obviously curious.
Yeah.
So I know that everyone's seen this clip. It's not the whole clip. It was just some part that she said that I thought, yeah, you know what? I totally agree with Molly Golightly here. She's talking about how manipulative Brian was to the cops. And in my opinion, and it's so many others. I mean, that body cam footage, it's like cringy to watch him like interact with the other male cops. And you just know, like, he went from being kind of scared, like when we saw that picture of him at the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like when he was told that she was the aggressor, super happy and like joking around. You know what I mean?
It was like a huge weight came off of his shoulders. He was more relaxed, like you said, joking.
Yeah, it was almost like he was like in disbelief that it was like playing out the way he wanted.
Yes.
And to me, knowing that the homicide happened after that interaction, like days after, it makes me think like, oh, like, did he feel like a different sense of like confidence knowing like I got away with slapping her? People called 911 and I got away with that. So, you know what? I can do this and I can put her here and no one will find her.
Yeah.
So it's like this guy has like a which is part of a psychopath, a symptom or whatever you want to call it, but being overly confident is something like a tribute that they have, a psychopath has. And I feel like the whole body cam and traffic stop, it's like, I just really feel like it like fed his like evil, or yeah,
Yes.
his evil and ego.
Yeah, his evil ego.
Exactly. Like all of a sudden he's like, wait, I'm not getting in trouble for this. Like, okay, awesome. Like, and it's like, I don't know if that gave him some sort of sick level of confidence where he was like, felt even more like he could get away with whatever he thinks he's getting away with, but it's just troubling.
Yeah,
So,
because
no, go
through
ahead.
that, like you said, it was a relief but then sometimes you would see after the officer would talk to Gabby and kind of walk towards Brian, he had a serious look. And then the officer would kind of, again, like let Brian know you're good, you're not in trouble, this and that. And again, you could see the relief come over Brian's face. Then the officer would change subjects or whatever. And then Brian would get the serious look. And then as soon as he realized it was going in his favor, his face would relax again.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was fascinating to watch. It was just eerie.
Yes. And I'm just reading chat. Pink Dahlia says the cops got me a room. Yeah. It was like,
Yeah.
and somebody else said they were having bro time. Yeah. And
They dubbed or whatever.
people were wondering why they gave him the room and not her. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I was under the impression that this little shelter, it wasn't like a Hilton hotel. It's sort of like a shelter for domestic violence victims. Like it's probably ran by the state. I don't know. This is just the feeling I was getting, that like it was just somewhere that they bring people in certain situations like this.
See, okay, so my husband, he kind of does this kind of stuff. I think it's a regular hotel, but I think they said safe haven. So some people in these situations, they call these agencies, and I think safe haven was it, and then they pay for the hotel. So I think it was a regular hotel, but it was paid for by like an agency who's supposed to help domestic violence victims type thing. And so since she was the aggressor, he was seen as the victim. That's why they weren't able technically to house Gabby. So Seek Haven. Okay. Yeah. And that's like, yeah, my husband kind of does that. They'll call and say, we need this person to go, or can you help them get a room somewhere, this and that. And he'll call the resources to make it happen or whatever.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. I was sort of getting that kind of feel from it. And then there's just a lot of people, even people who aren't from America, who might be wondering like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, why did they give him a hotel? But safe haven and all that kind of makes sense, like you said.
And it probably, I don't know for sure, but it probably is some type of nonprofit situation. They get certain, a budget with grants and stuff. So that's just kind of how I understood it all. And yeah, since he was the alleged victim, they were able to put him up in the room.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense for sure. I knew it was something like that, so I'm glad that's kind of, hopefully it answers people's question.
My heart was when I saw the manipulation that their son did with those cops in Utah. He had those cops eating out of the palm of their hand. That's a talent. You got to be psychotic in order to do that. You got to be psychotic.
I agree with her there.
Yes.
He has something that he was able to manipulate those officers quick.
Yeah. And I'm only laughing because I've watched Molly Golightly's YouTube, and she's, very entertaining in a character. But here I really do. I feel her being angry. And it's true. Like watching that body cam footage is so hard. People have a hard time watching it, not only because, poor Gabby, the victim, this and that, but it's just frustrating to see the cops kind of handle the situation. And you're like, why? No, like, because we all know the outcome. So I feel like all that was just built up for Molly Golightly. And she's right. Like watching him, like you said, like stand there with like the I'm a nice guy demeanor with the cops. You know what I mean? Like when he had like his arms like folded in the front and just very manipulative. And same with this interview with the sister, in my opinion, just very comes across her best way, but I see it in the eyes that she's not sincere. But her best foot forward was, she's like a sister to me. It's like, was that planned to say that line? It's like, these people are very manipulative.
Agreed, completely.
So one of the other updates was, and again, I don't condone this, but it was part of the weekend updates. A drone was flown over the backyard of the Laundrie house. And again, I'm not saying everyone bring their drone and get some footage, because I do feel that it is sort of a level of invasion of privacy.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody did it, so here we are looking at it, and I'm gonna play it. And it's kind of like, okay, big deal, they're gardening. But when you think about what's going on, their son is missing, and apparently he's suicidal.
Right. And they've just lost, basically she was going to be, their future daughter-in-law that, Gabby's mom said Roberta would knit things for her. She lived with them. So it's just, ugh.
Sorry, I'm like running to the baby to give her a new toy and stuff. So I appreciate everyone's patience.
The point. Ugh.
And again, I'm not saying that this is right to do, but like you said, like, wow, look at them. Like, their son is missing, quote unquote, possibly suicidal, according to them. And they're just carrying on like, oh, well, let's just tend to the garden. And it's like, well, anyone could argue and be like, well, they want to get their mind off things, and gardening helps that. And I know you love gardening, so you can relate, but like, it is what it is. Now we're kind of evaluating their behavior because they won't do interviews. We barely see them besides hopping in and out of the car, So it's like, who are these people? And we've seen a little glimpse. So it is what it is. And I'm curious what chat thinks. Do you guys think like, wow, it's unusual that they're just carrying on? Or do you think that it's just being overlooked at and just let them be?
And I think it's interesting too. I mean, they immediately go inside. They're not comfortable just continuing on. They obviously felt uncomfortable. And I can understand that, but
right. And it's like, I do understand it, because it's like, look at us right now, evaluating them.
Right. And so many have done that.
Yeah. And BT26 says, it's not a good look. I'll say that. Good morning, Cindy Surfer. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I seen Allie79 put this up on Facebook last night, and I think it's just very telling. It says everything that we need to say.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Wow. It is just like, what in the world? They hear the protesters yelling. They know people want answers, and they just are going to go garden on what, a Sunday afternoon? Yeah, they're not worried. They are in control. And I think with this family, control is a huge thing. I think Brian had to be in control. I think it again stems back. I'd love to know what their family was like more than we know now.
Right. And it's like, yeah, they did have Gabby live with them, and it's, that was nice of them, I'm sure. But like, what does that mean now at this point? They haven't come out and said anything besides what that one statement they made about hoping, but it was through the lawyer. We hope, or we hope she rests in peace, or something like that, after her body was found. It's like, what the heck? Like, yeah, she is at peace now that she's away from your son.
Exactly, because he most likely caused her death.
That's such an eerie thing to say when you think about it, because of
Yeah.
the fact that, I mean, I'm confident enough to say exactly what you just said. He caused the death of this young woman, and their response is something along the lines, this isn't like word for word, but we hope she rests in peace. So bizarre.
Right.
So this is just the cover of the article that I'll pull up, and I'm not going to read like every little thing because I know people have kind of seen this out there, but we'll play his video. A gentleman, he's engineer, older man, claims that he crossed paths with Brian Laundrie. Everyone that I've talked to was pretty much saying like, yeah, it sounds legit. He seems like, you can rely on his eyewitness account. What did you think? Do you believe the eyewitness account?
I believe that this man thinks that he saw Brian. I do. Again, I don't know if I believe he did or not. It's just so hard to tell. But to me, he seems genuine and that he really feels that he saw him. And I think that, I've heard people saying there's no way he'd be talking to people or in public, whatever. He's been on the run for, it'll be a month and 2 weeks, so, or longer. We don't really know if he really went missing the 14th. I kind of think he probably went missing before, so could be over a month. We don't know. But yeah, I think that it is possible Brian is kind of hiding in plain sight with a different disguise. Like, I asked my parents about this case yesterday, and they knew about it, but they didn't realize that Brian was still on the run, and they didn't know what he looked like. So there are people out there who don't know. Everyone's like, well, he would, everyone knows this and that. But I don't know. I think it's possible. I think anything's possible. But I really think this guy thinks he talked to Brian Laundrie.
Yeah, I definitely felt that way too, that he seems adamant and sure. I'll play his interview too. But I agree that not everybody knows about this. Good morning, Alex Erickson.
Hello.
Original Elements, my membership is like paused right now because it's hard to explain, but YouTube gives you like an AdSense account, which means like you earn revenue through like people who watch ads and join your memberships, but you have to get like a new one when you move. Or basically when I moved a month ago, it messed up my PIN number. It's gotten lost. So it's a whole process to verify that it's me belonging to this. So they paused my membership. So the only way to kind of support me right now in the channel is to like and subscribe. And hopefully I'll have it fixed soon. And I've linked my PayPal in the description and in chat. It's just the only way. But I'm not going to just leave you guys high and dry and not run my channel. Like obviously I feel passionate about true crime and I appreciate all you guys. So here we are. This picture though is the stepfather. And it's just something he posted last night. I thought it was really nice. It shows like a rainbow in the background and they're calling it a sign from Gabby. It's just so devastating because the family is just such a nice family and they deserve justice for Gabby. And, Brian being on the run, he could be desperate, like you said. And it's like, if you're desperate, you will ask for a ride or hitchhike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he could be getting a little delirious. Like he said that, he said him and his girlfriend got into a fight, but she called, he had to go back. Isn't that possibly what happened from the 17th to the 23rd? Maybe they got in a fight. Brian left, they reunite, maybe he's going crazy in a way. I don't know. I just think anything's possible at this point.
I agree. And this last clip for the updates is just dog in a swampy area. I threw it in here. I'm not sure how everyone feels about dog, but honestly, I just don't care who finds Brian as long as they find him. So I just added this little update. And then I'll just pull up that thing about the Appalachian hiker and the Daily Mail thing talking about the parents' Twitter. And then we'll call it a day for updates.
Yeah, and then Someone just asked, did he take a picture of the license plate? No, I think he didn't put it together until after Brian had left, but he did get a description of the truck that he was in.
Yeah, in a white truck. So if anyone sees any pictures of Brian and his family from like the past and you see a white truck or, anything,
I think he said
send it.
Ford F-150 is what it looked
Oh,
like.
okay. I mean, it's a popular model, but still.
Yeah.
All right.
And,
So,
okay, one more
no, go
thing.
ahead.
I just
Yeah.
want to say it makes, again, his calls, according to him, kind of went unnoticed. He said he wasn't getting calls back. And it just makes me wonder, it's Monday now. I wonder if they have law enforcement looking for this light colored F-150 truck or if they are just ignoring it. It just makes me wonder if they're
Yeah.
going to have it on their minds.
Like, are they going to come out with a statement today and say, like, please keep an eye out for this vehicle description,
Right.
All right, let me just play this little clip and, like I said, move on to those two things and call it a day.
Hey, can you push the boat over so dog can get through there?
I got it. All right. If you want, I can hold your camera while you jump in if you are jumping in. If not, yeah. Taser good? Not getting wet? Yeah, I hope so. A little bit. I jumped in this fine. Tell you what, just follow my path so you don't fall in any holes. You want to throw my phone over to you? Yep. Hey, you should be good with the depth. It's only about 2.5 feet. Watch out for nails.
So Original Elements asked if we feel there's a connection to any of the murders in Wyoming.
I do. I think it's possible until, DNA comes back and they can 100% say the reason we do not suspect Brian Laundrie for, especially, the couple, Kylan and Crystal, we ran it. Brian Laundrie's DNA is not a match to any on the couple. Then, okay. But just saying before they even, had found Gabby and so early on, there's no connection. That's just not quite enough for me. I still question it for sure.
I agree. And you never know what they're downplaying or keeping close to their chest, as they say.
Yeah.
So let me just play this. I'm running out of time with the baby.
Okay.
Well, first I just
Of course, an ad. My bad, guys. But anyways, while this ad's playing, thank you, Kelly, for coming on. And my morning lives are always random, but you're always welcome, and I can send you the link at any time or anytime I go live. And I would love for you to jump on, but I know you got things to do too. But I just really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I was coming up from Florida on Friday to go hiking the Appalachian Trail. I got up here to the North Carolina, Tennessee area at about 12:30, so early Saturday morning. I was parking my car at a parking lot where we were going to be leaving a car, and I had passed the parking lot, so I was doing a U-turn to go back to it. And as I was doing that U-turn, a vehicle approached from behind me. The vehicle let me go ahead and finish my U-turn. And as I was driving up to that vehicle, the gentleman in the vehicle stuck his hand out and kind of waved me down. I pulled up alongside of the vehicle. It looked like a Ford F-150 truck. It was white. I was in a car, so I was lower than the vehicle. I rolled my window down and I started talking with the gentleman. I could tell right away that something wasn't right with him. it took him a second to get anything out. And then he said, man, I'm lost. And I thought, I was kind of lost myself. I thought maybe he was another hiker looking for the same parking lot. And I said, well, I'm not from around here, but what are you trying to find? And he said, man, I need to go to California. And I was like, wow, well, I don't know the directions to California, but he said, me and my girlfriend had a fight, and man, I love her. And she called me, and I need to go out to California to see her. And I said, well, man, I-40 is right there. We were right next to I-40. And I said, you can take I-40 west and it'll get you to California. And he said, no, I think this road that we're on, I'm just going to take it to California. And that was Waterville Road. When I got off the phone with FBI, I looked at some more pictures and I saw a profile view of Brian. And that's how I was kind of looking at him, because he was in his truck. So most of the time I was seeing the side of his face. And when I saw that profile view, I was like, I'm absolutely 100% sure that was the guy. My heart was thumping. And I immediately called the FBI back and I said, listen, I just called you guys, but I'm telling you, this was the guy. And so the lady, first time I spoke with a man, the second time was a lady. She again took my information. I was sitting there in this parking lot. I'm like, what do I do now? And I was like, well, no one's calling me. So I called 911. At that time I was in Tennessee. So I got the Tennessee 911. I called and spoke with the operator there. She took my information. Again, nobody was calling me back. I'm, sitting there for an hour now. And so I got in my car and I actually drove back by the site where I had saw him just to see if I could see him again. At that time I was in North Carolina. So I picked up the phone and called 911 in North Carolina.
So it sounded like to me, he had called and put the tip in and then called them back to let them know that he was pretty positive. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I seen in another thing, it said that was on like the border of Tennessee and North Carolina.
Yeah.
So he sounded believable to me, but again, I guess you never know.
Right. I mean, yeah, it could be that did happen and it wasn't Brian. He could be lying, or it happened and it was Brian. I mean, those are the three options.
Right.
So.
And he's out there somewhere.
Yep.
So this last one, I was saying earlier, people are skeptical of daily news, but in my experience, they are on point and give like even added info on true crime cases. So I thought this was an interesting article. But we know most of it. It talks about her Twitter. This is for those who don't have Twitter. The mother joined it. Pretty much said, Mama Bear is getting angry. Turn yourself in. Joe Petito agrees. And then just some pictures. This is obviously Joe's, her father, and the stepmother is Tara. Some older pictures of the brother and Gabby. So it's sad. The stepfather, it still seems surreal. Miss you, Gabs. It's just, they were robbed. And so was she.
Yeah.
And I'll always say it. She deserved, and I think she was trying to get away from Brian. I think after that police stop and all that, she really woke up and she's like, you know what? I'm done, and I'll finish this van life with my friend Rose. And I think that did not sit well with Brian. And I think she deserved to meet her Prince Charming someday.
Yeah, I agree completely. She deserves so much more than him.
Yeah.
It's awful.
So the only part besides that Twitter stuff that I thought was interesting as part of this was it said, I think on Friday, that the Laundrie lawyer said Friday they believe he is still alive somewhere in Florida. As questions mount over his sister's previous claims about when she last saw him and whether both Laundrie and his mom are using burner phones. So I just thought that was interesting. I hadn't seen it out there that they said that the lawyer thinks he's still in Florida.
Yeah. That makes me think he's not in Florida.
I was
can
just
say
gonna
that.
say something like that. Like, okay,
Yeah.
so if he thinks he's in Florida, where do you guys think he is? California?
Yeah, cross off Florida. Ugh.
And I feel like California would be a possible place for him to go because I think that he aligns politically with California and people. I don't know if anyone in chat or if you're familiar with Skid Row, but there's just like it's sad, but when I visited, there's a huge community of homeless people. But the thing is, in California, the perfect weather and just, all that, some of the population, it's not like homeless people that mind it. Like they've signed up for it and they want to live that life. So to me, it would make sense that he would kind of try to blend in with that community out there. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, my husband has worked with the homeless population, and there are some who he says it's basically a choice. Like they have family help. Um, they just choose to live like that, and that becomes their lifestyle. They make friends, family doing that, and that's what they choose to do.
Yeah,
So,
and even if he's not on Skid Row, he could live on the beach, you know what I mean, and grow his beard and all this. It's like, who knows?
yeah, get
Who
a
knows what
wig,
his
wear a
plan
hat.
is?
Yeah, and
Right.
it's COVID, wear a mask. I mean,
Yeah.
you could disguise for a long time.
And California is big on masks, so.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's pretty much my updates, my commentary, my opinions. That's all I have for you guys from the weekend recap. If there's anything new, of course, we'll put it up either on my community page if it's a short update, or if it's something video worthy, check back for a small video. Check out CDT's channel. It's linked in chat just right now by Nikki. So thank you to my mods, and thanks for being here again, Kelly.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and it was a good chat. So,
all right. So I agree. Matt Power said Brian should man up. I agree, and we'll leave it on that note. And hopefully we get full justice for Gabby today, like Diane just said.
yes. Yep.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.